Jamaica Stock Exchange recently celebrated having 100 active companies listed on its exchange, another milestone in a long list of achievements notched up by this exchange, respected by its peers and supported by the investing public.
I never come from a rich family or anything like that. All I have is my education and my entrepreneurial ability and a vision to transform Jamaica. And the Jamaica Stock Exchange for providing that avenue so that a man like me and my team can go out there and raise that capital is truly amazing.
The great thing about Jamaica and having young entrepreneurs strive to list on the stock exchange is that they are now striving to have better corporate governance. They are now striving to make sure that their accounts are in order. They are now striving towards growth.
Jamaica is known for its music, or athletes and so forth, and it's now great that we can be known for one economic indicator, which is a strong and robust and fast-growing stock exchange.
There are lots of countries that look like Jamaica in terms of their level of GDP or the size of their economy or their population, but they don't have a dynamic, evolving, supportive equity market.
First proposed in 1962, the Jamaica Stock Exchange started operation in 1969 with a bang.
Coming out on the heels of just getting independence, the stock exchange was incorporated in 1968 and we started to transact February of 1969. And what was done was persons between themselves doing transfer or where transfer was done at the stamp office. That was tedious. That did not inure itself to a growth of a capital market.
The stock exchange was a progressive move towards finance. It was the availability of equity as opposed to debt to finance Jamaican companies.
So the stock exchange was necessary to encourage a seamless transfer of securities, but encourage also Jamaicans to take part of the ownership in businesses in Jamaica.
Not only did it start with 7 pioneering companies, The Gleaner, Caribbean Cement Company Limited, Carreras Group Limited, Jamaica Producers, Jamaica Public Service Company Limited, Salada Foods, and Pan Jam Investment Limited. But amongst its founders was trailblazing Rita Humphreys.
Dr. Humphrey Sloan was very pivotal in the growth and development of the capital markets. A fearless woman, especially in a time when the market was male-dominated. As chairman, she was able to lend her voice to moving from a manual system to all electronic. As a director on the board of the exchange, she supported us in moving the stock exchange forward, and personally she supported me. She paved the way for many women to see that it was possible for them with their skill and knowledge to participate in the capital markets.
The market's activities were restricted to its founding brokers, Annett & Company, Edward Gale & Company, Pitfield, McKay, Ross & Company, and Capital Market Services Limited. These traders managed orders for the initial listed companies. The public interest in IPOs was still apathetic. Lack of knowledge about the workings of a stock exchange, coupled with lackluster government interest and mass migration in the late 1970s and early 80s, proved to be a tough time for the JSE.
Government also instituted certain regulations which affected the operations of the stock exchange.
A significant amount of the funds that belonged to Jamaica would be held in Jamaica were moved overseas for fear of a political system that people feared would have probably seized their assets, reducing the values of stock prices, real estate prices. All values went down.
The financial crisis saw some amount of resetting of the regulatory framework with the FSC and others, ensuring that investors were protected.
During the 1970s, the decade immediately following the establishment of the JSE, there was only one new listed company, Palace Amusement Limited.
We wanted to support the stock exchange. We wanted to give it our membership and some life. We were not raising money, we were not borrowing money. We just wanted to be part of the movement.
Even the 1980s only saw an additional 2 companies listed on the exchange, Seprod and Grace Kennedy, to make a total of 10 companies on the exchange.
Eventually, come the 1980s and some level of confidence was restored. People were educated, they saw opportunities, and the market came back roaring. It had several years of increases of 100%.
The early 90s saw a more vibrant exchange with the listing of 5 more companies: Radio Jamaica, Jamaica Broilers Group Limited, Berger Paints, Siboney Group Limited, and Kingston Wharves. Also, during that decade, under the leadership of the then General Manager, Mr. Wayne Iton, saw the exchange come of age with the move of the exchange into its own digs on Harbour Street, on a historic site once held by the Myrtle Bank Hotel. This was a great achievement, showing that the exchange was growing in confidence and now able to stand on its own.
In fact, what happened in the 70s was good for the market. It was bad for investors, generally speaking, but it was good for the market because people could buy undervalued stocks and they went up significantly in value in a relatively short time frame. And there's nothing like an investor started to invest and started to make money.
Why choose the JSE over a bank to raise money for expansion?
It's really great that Jamaicans have options in seeking to raise capital for their business. You can go to a commercial bank and they will charge you a whole bunch of interest. They want security, they want this, they want that. You have equity options, you can get a private investor to invest in your business, and that may come with some strings as well. And then the third option is that you can basically crowdfund for your business, and that's going to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So you can get thousands of ordinary Jamaicans to invest in your business.
And over the years, the stock exchange has produced an enormous amount of equity for various companies in the Jamaican economy.
In 1998 came the major breakthrough. Before this date, trades were settled slowly, resulting in inconvenience for both buyers and sellers, and with great distrust of the brokers. With the establishment of the Jamaica Central Securities Depository and book entry settlements, trades could be completed within 2 days, enabling both buyers and sellers to complete trades far more efficiently.
The JSE became necessary because first world countries operated a system where shares could trade frequently without physical certificates having to pass between individuals.
The Jamaica Central Securities Depository did just that. The processing of a book entry system, electronically transferring shares from one person to another, seeking to ensure that before trading takes place, you have inventory in your system.
And it facilitated day trading as we now have, where people can buy a share today and sell it shortly thereafter and use the funds available to buy other shares. So it has created a greater level of efficiency, greater level of certainty, and reduced a lot of the bureaucracy that was involved in trading shares in the past, where physical certificates had to be delivered and to be received.
And so it was necessary to bring order to the market.
On the back of the establishment of the JCSD came a drive to broaden public exposure and knowledge of the workings of the stock exchange.
Stock markets are not entities that are well known amongst the wider population. It required promotion, it required education and exposure. And that didn't start to happen in any serious way until the 1980s. I started to write on the stock market and others started to write. Then we also had seminars, television, radio discussions, all these sort of things. And the stock exchange subsequently started to have seminars, lectures with school children. It all came together, and the performance of the company and the ability of the stocks to perform, I think, illustrated to the wider populace that people are capable of making money in the market.
But how does a company get to list on the JSE?
First of all, the company has to be reputable. And a reputable company, we think, has to have 4 main things. The first thing is good corporate governance. The second thing is robust financials. Third and fourth are history of performance and a solid growth plan. We hold their hands and walk with them step by step through the entire process. We check the business plan and the last 5 years' financials and the management accounts. Post that, we complete a valuation of the company. Then we begin to draft the prospectus. We then register the prospectus. The potential investors will get the prospectus, review it, and then make an assessment to determine if they want to invest in the company. After the IPO closes or we come to the end of the offer period, we then send in a formal application to the Jamaica Stock Exchange to seek their approval for listing.
When a company lists on the exchange, it's the first part of their journey. Afterwards, there is the post-listing requirements, where governance is important. Having taken the investors' money, they now need to report because the investors become shareholders.
In order to get to the position that you are able to list, you have to be a company that is well run. You have to have your board of directors in place. You have to have corporate responsibility, accountability. Your accounts have to be in order. You are reviewed and you're very, very public. Because you are owned by the public, you now become accountable to the public. And so it says that I can have confidence in you as a business because you are transparent.
In the 2000 to 2010 decade, this momentum escalated with the listing of 14 new companies, almost doubling the listing of the past 30 years. The latter part of that decade would see another great leap as the JSE, in consultation with the government, created the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market.
When I was Minister of Finance, between 2007 and 2011, there was a global economic collapse, and I decided that we would create a junior market in order to stimulate general ownership in the private sector.
Because it was at a time when we were having delistings on the main market. The decision to go junior market was led by research and was led by a definite need for what would be necessary to grow the market. Because we felt that in doing this, the capital market would be assured and Jamaica would be better for it.
The stock exchange grew significantly and was recognized not just in Jamaica but internationally as one of the fastest growing stock exchanges in the world. And that must be credited to the establishment of the junior market.
History has proven that we have won.
Why was there a need for a junior market?
For a company listing on the junior market, of course, the tax benefits are amazing. So you get the first 5 years tax-free, you pay 0 corporate income tax, and then the second 5 years you only pay 50% of your corporate income tax, and that 10-year, in essence, tax holiday. That also allows them to reinvest those funds into the company's growth.
Access Financial led the charge into the new junior market, followed in short order by Blue Power Group, Jamaican Teas, and Lasco by 2010, and also Dolphin Cove, Honeybun, and AMG Paper and Packaging. The second decade of the 2000s saw the JSE initiate US-dominated listings, with Proven Investments being the first on this market in 2011. They would later be joined by PBS and Equity Line Mortgage Investment Corporation. Over the next several years, the exchange would become entrenched in the public consciousness, moving with the times by incorporating technology as it changed.
We punch really above our weight. And many of the things that you see in global markets, we have achieved them. For example, electronic trading platform, a seamless depository that goes along with the trading engine.
There was a push to go and engage with those at home through a game. And that game was a Jamaica stock market game. And we have started to engage with investors who are not necessarily investors of today, but maybe strong investors of tomorrow. We'd have also started the Stock Exchange, a new podcast, which would have also engaged with those at home. We then would have followed that up with the creation of the private market. And this kind of goes further down the road of overall diversification, because this is now a business, this is a business line.
As the exchange went on to be named twice as the world's best performer by Bloomberg.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is the world's best performing stock market.
Companies large and small increasingly sought it out as a means of raising capital, and more recently, Dollar Financial, the 99th company to list.
Ricardo Allen from One-on-One, Gordon Sweeby from Eduvocal, Kadeem Mears from Dollar Financial. These are young guys. 5 years ago, Eduvocal was doing about the same level of revenues that my company is now doing. And that's very inspirational. I'm like, wow, in 5 years, if we really put our mind to it, if we really wanted to achieve that, we could potentially list Khalila Reynolds Media on the stock exchange.
There's so many good ideas out there that just need the right type of capital, mentorship and support. And I think having the junior market has done a great job for Jamaica as the 100 listing overall on the market, but just the innovations that continue to inspire people to participate is exciting to see.
All of these companies have thrived and are continuing to reap the benefits of listing, and the exchange has continued to broaden its reach and impact, even including social enterprises.
The Social Stock Exchange was launched in 2020 during the period of the pandemic, with our first listing being DEFCAN. And it's launched specifically to help the nonprofits, to help the companies who are out there, who are doing charitable work, who are doing social intervention, who need funding during a time when people knew that there were others who needed their support and wanted to find a good, transparent, efficient mechanism to do so.
Now, at the landmark 100th listing, the Jamaica Stock Exchange remains committed to providing a vital outlet for the innate entrepreneurial drive and creativity of Jamaicans for the benefit of all. What next?
Really what we are aiming at is to be a global player in the exchange landscape, and that we will be doing through Memorandum of Understanding or other agreements.
We're privileged to be recording the 100th listing, and the name of the company is One-on-One.
The stock exchange is celebrating a huge milestone, listing its 100th company, One-on-One Educational Services.
Congratulations to One-on-One and Ricardo Allen for being that 100th company to list.
I wish you all the best for the future and any other company that wishes to follow and do a listing.
What a milestone this is, and we're so particularly proud of the One-on-One team.